Good afternoon and welcome to Paul T's World. It's the start of autumn, but there's still plenty in flower. In this video, we're going to look at the front garden and what it looks like in late September. First of all, let's just have a look at the bed where I've got all the paniculata hydrangeas. Let's see what they're doing. So this is the framboise, and as we can see, it's gone quite a deep red. Also, the candlelight has changed to red. And the diamond rouge. Now, I think that these paniculatas have suffered from the heat wave and the drought that we had over the summer. But they're still looking nice, particularly this one, candlelight. I did try and keep up with the watering this summer, but I had to resort to using the hose at times because all the water butts were empty for much of the summer. It's been about as dry as we've ever had it in summer here on the northwest. Even this part of the wetter side of Britain was extremely dry. Got some of the coleus have recovered. Again, they haven't done so well because it's been so dry. And I think this little azalea has just about had it, so I've actually bought two more to replace that one. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the edge of this path with azaleas. There are some azaleas there, but I want them to fill this sides here, partly because I want to stop the foxes and the cats pulling out some of the mulch. Oh, here's a little bit of grass. The oak leaf hydrangea has flowered quite well, and I'm expecting this to do really well over the years as it matures. When I planted this hosta, it stood by itself beautifully, but obviously when you put things too close, then they get rather overcrowded, and this is the potentilla that I'm going to take out. It's not in the right place, and I'm going to replace it with another paniculata. It's been a successful year for this bed in spite of the drought and the high temperatures. We got to about 36, 37 degrees centigrade this summer. Oh, and let's just have a look at the dogwood, the Cherokee. It's just starting to get its autumn tinges of red. It doesn't flower a great deal, but it does have nice leaves through the seasons. I planted it in the middle of the lawn to break up the lawn. And indeed, I also planted this tree. Beautiful little tree, this one. Ideal for a small garden. It's probably about full size now. And in the spring, it's gorgeous. It's got these cute little white flowers. Love it. Now, generally in the autumn, it turns a nice red colour, and we'll see what happens this autumn, because it has also suffered with the drought. Just look at these leaves. They're just looking a little bit stressed. But it's a lovely tree. And I would really recommend this for a small garden. And I planted it also in the lawn. I wanted a couple of established plants to break up the front lawn. Do you remember the eucalyptus that I cut right back? It was a tree about 35, 40 feet high, and I cut it to about 5, 6 feet from the ground. It started to shoot, and so let's see what it looks like now, a year later. It's a gunny eye. And as you can see, it looks gorgeous. These leaves are often used in flower arrangements because they're so nice and delicate. I wanted it nice and bushy so it would fill the gap here, and indeed cutting it back has created all this new growth. So there's where I cut it. Now also in this bed, this is the bed I call the road bed, because the road runs alongside it. I'm trying to improve it. So let's see what I'm doing. I've started off by putting in an oak-leafed hydrangea. And this one is, let's see, I've got the original tag here. This is burgundy. This one's called burgundy. And I chose this one because it has lovely leaves in autumn. Now, whenever I'm shooting a video, the robin likes to join in. There he is. He follows me round whenever I'm in the garden. And he'll be singing later on in the winter and the spring, claiming his territory. So what else have we got in this border? I've put in a brunnera. I'm fairly new to brunnera. This one I think is sea breeze. Could be Jack Frost, and I'm going to put in a few more along here. I'm still undecided how I'm going to fill in the rim, the edge of this border. I've put some hostas in, I'll be putting some more in. I want to completely fill this border. And here is the base of the climbing rose. It flowered twice this year. I cut it back in the summer and then it flowered again. I have got some clematises that are late flowering. They are pruning group number 3. That's the leaves. The flowers have finished now. This is a lilac, a butter-coloured lilac. At the back here, I've got the hawthorn. It's an ornamental hawthorn. The flowers are red. The hedge along the road is a privet. Privet are pretty good. They're tough and reliable, except sometimes they go a little bit thin in the winter. So they're not quite as good as, say, laurel for blocking out eyesores like the road. And this one is a little bit thin, and this is because it doesn't get much light back here. I collected up some leaves here and just popped them in here, so these will actually turn into leaf mould. Let's see how it's been doing. There we are, there's a leaf mould. Now, in doing this, the robin will be here in a minute because there will be all sorts of little insects and things. Oh, there's the robin now. He's just jumped down to the base. Here we are. Come on. So he will be in there shortly to see what I've disturbed. Let's just wait a second and see if he pops in. Come on. Now, he's a little bit camera shy today, so we'll leave him to jump in there in a minute. No, here he is. There he is. Come on. He can't resist a little snack. No, a little bit shy. So let's see what else we've got in this border. This lilac actually had leaves right down here, and what I've done is I've actually lifted the crown higher because I want to give light into this part of the border to try and fill it in. And the next shrub that I've done the same, as you see, there's no leaves down here. I've taken them all off, and this is an Elaeagnus. Now, I bought this Elaeagnus as a gorgeous variegated plant, and it seemingly died and I had to cut it right back. And then when it grew again, it's now not variegated anymore. This plant is excellent for being near the coast because it is quite happy with salty air. Just a little fact for us there. I've got some evergreen plants, kind of euonymus here, to block the road off. There's the climbing rose that grows everywhere, turns up where it likes, which I really enjoy. There's a geranium here, the Roseanne. And here we have a hydrangea. Now this is a lace cap hydrangea, and I took this as a cutting last August, so this is 1 year later. I also took another couple of cuttings. This paniculata here, again, I took that last August. It's now flowered the following year. And here is a clematis. Again, I took that cutting last August and I've just planted it up, and I'm wanting it to grow up the shrubs and the trees here. And that tree at the back, as you can see, it's a laburnum and it's dying. So I'm going to leave the branches and let a clematis, it's a montana, let that grow up. We've got the Magnolia stellata, the star magnolia here, followed by the rhododendrons. Now these rhododendrons have suffered somewhat from the drought. It's particularly August and September that we want to make sure these are well watered, and presumably into October, because you can see these are the flowers for next year. It's set its flowers for next year. So if there are no flower buds now, then it's not looking good for flowering next year. And here we've got this one. The leaves don't look good. It's had a tough summer, but we do have the flower buds for next year. I've actually thinned out the area here to give the hellebores more light. So we've got hellebores back here. Oh, and I can see some cyclamen. Kind of wild cyclamen just starting to flower down there. Over here we have the azalea bed and the hydrangeas. They haven't had a good year, the mopheads this year. And here we are. This one is normally spectacular. And of course, it's had plenty of flowers, but they just weren't as good as normal. And that is because of the heat. We can see the leaves there. And also the drought. And in fact, the other one, I've got a white one here, that really suffers in drought. So I had to water this every day at the height of the drought. Kept wilting, the leaves kept wilting, and then I'd water it, and then it'd get going again. And I think part of the reason is this tree here. It's a malus. What's malus? It's a crabapple. And this crabapple, I think, might have roots running below the hydrangea. And as you can see, it doesn't look great. However, in spring it's magnificent and it flowers beautifully. Let's have a look at a couple of my containers and what I put in there over summer. They're looking good. And here we are. This is the first of the summer containers that I made last spring. And this is the Canna Pretoria. It's grown really nice and large. Flowered nicely. So I've watered this container every single day. And every now and again I've fed it with tomarite. Actually, just while we're looking at this container, this is a little lime, paniculata hydrangea. And it's flopped. It can't seem to hold up these panicules. And the way it's growing, it's kind of growing sideways. And you can see here, I'm trying to hold it up with string. So it's the second year it's done this in this pot. So I've got a feeling I might take it out of the pot and plant it in the ground for next year. Let's see the other container. It is, and in this one we've got a Stuttgart canna, getting quite large, about 9 or 10 feet, and then the flowers above. Some of the leaves suffered from the heat wave. Now I believe that Stuttgart would prefer to be more in the shade. And in fact, since it's been shadier in September, these leaves look a little bit better. And some of them getting a little bit eaten as well. And I've just decorated with the geraniums and some trailing plants here. Fuchsia, this is a hardy fuchsia. And I've got another fuchsia here that will go in the porch. Not looking good now. This is not a hardy fuchsia, but it actually, oops. I've turned it round. This is the back of it because it was flopping over. And I've got an aeonium here. This will go in the porch for the winter. And this coleus was in the porch, but it had insects on it, mealy bugs. So I decided to bring it out of the house. I didn't like that. These, yeah, got quite an infestation of mealy bugs. It's one of those king coleus. So there we are. These are the two big containers I've got in the front garden with the cannas in, and I actually have some more containers in the back garden that I'll show you in the next video. I've been really pleased with the cannas this year. They've all grown really large, or at least the ones that should be growing large, and they've done well. Every single one of my 6 varieties of cannas have flowered and are flowering right now, so really pleased with that. I've got some in the ground in the back garden and these in containers in the front garden. So that's a look round my front garden towards the end of September in England, Zone 9A. And I'll see you next time in Paul T's World. Bye.